Would you kill the family of a terror suspect? Yes or no?
I would have to see what the circumstances of that situation was.
Are you kidding me?
I would have to see the circumstances of that situation.
What circumstances would justify the killing of a family, a wife and a child?
It would have to be the circumstances that we were facing at the time.
Do you agree with the fact that they ran that story about spying on the Taliban?
Again, I don't think it's my place to criticize the decisions of the journalists and the newspapers who are making these decisions. I am not the journalist, that's not my role.
Do you support a Palestinian state?
You're not listening.
I am listening. I've been waiting
That's
patiently.
The thing. You're not listening.
I've been waiting patiently.
This
Do you
is the
support
policy
a
of my
Palestinian
government,
state?
as I said before.
Do you, the foreign minister, does Zippy Hotovely support a Palestinian state?
Mehdi, you're not. Mehdi, it's so simple.
It is simple. Do you support a Palestinian state?
I'm answering in the very clear voice. I'm representing the policy of my government.
And what about you?
Very simple.
What about you? Do you support a Palestinian state?
You can ask that 10 times again, and I'm going to answer you again. I'm representing the policy of my prime minister.
Why are you okay with an elected government in Syria, but not an elected government in Saudi Arabia? If the people of Syria get to choose their own rulers or head of state, why can't the people of Saudi Arabia choose their own head of state?
Go and ask the people of Saudi Arabia, are you happy with your... Of course you can.
No, it's illegal in Saudi Arabia to call for a change in the government, to call for the king to come
I didn't say go and call for a change of government. Okay. I said go and call and ask the Saudi people whether they are happy with their system of government.
How do I do that? What's the process?
In any way you want. In any way you want. Opinion polls, anything.
What about an election?
And you will find, well, we will have elections at some point of time.
Hezbollah is a foreign force on the ground in Syria. Does Iran support that force?
As I mentioned, we support the expulsion of terrorist groups.
Is Hezbollah on the ground in Syria supported by Iran?
Of Syria,
very simple, Madam Vice President. Yes or no?
Only the people of Syria have the right to decide.
In 1993, you said they were 8 to 10 years away from having nuclear weapons. You were wrong, were you not?
Well, I want to see my quote. I
can read to you. Right. I brought it with me just in case.
Ahead.
You said Iran is pursuing the acquisition of nuclear weapons.
Yes.
Iran probably will take at least 8 to 10 years to produce its own nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
At least 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
22 years later, they don't have nuclear weapons.
I don't know that you're right.
You take it very seriously. You've carried out 9 times as many drone strikes as George W. Bush.
We've imposed, but we did not invade and occupy.
Okay, but if the Iraq war is your benchmark, well done. But if your benchmark is international law, not creating more terrorists than you kill, you've not done a very good job with drones, some would say.
Well, I would say that we've decimated the Al-Qaeda network.
At what cost?
Look, obviously, this is a controversial issue around the world.
Are you still of the view that Al-Qaeda is more of a myth than a reality? It's what you said last year. You also said you weren't even sure that they existed. Really?
Exactly, that's my view today as well.
That Al-Qaeda is a myth?
It is for me a myth. I have never had a report from any Afghan source on the Al-Qaeda or what they were doing.
The President of the United States says that's torture. Do you think that's torture?
The current President of the United States says that's torture.
Yes.
Right. The Attorney General at the time, and actually a total of 3 Attorneys General, said it wasn't torture.
Do you think it's torture?
Well, I have not been forced to make that decision. What I have done is reflect the legal opinion that was extant at the time these decisions were made.
Yes. And do you think it's torture?
You
have no view?
Mehdi, you're the nth person to ask me that.
That doesn't change the reality that you're avoiding a very simple answer.
And I'm not giving an answer.
So if President Assad waterboards Syrian rebels, you will not call that torture?
Oh, that's completely different.
Why? So if America does it, it's fine, but if Syria does it, it's bad.
Let me answer the question, all right? If President Assad did it according to the rules that CIA used.
Kenya's National Commission on Human Rights said in 2014, a huge police crackdown on suspected terrorists.
Well, actually,
hold on, let me finish the point.
Interview them, because honestly, they haven't talked to me.
They said,
so
if they don't speak to the foreign minister, their report doesn't count.
I haven't seen the report. I haven't had any of my cabinet colleagues tell me that they have spoken to anybody in cabinet.
Arbitrary arrests, extortion, theft, sexual harassment.
Well, sorry,
it's all false.
Sorry, I don't care whether it's false or true. They have not talked to anybody.
You're the foreign minister.
No. They haven't talked to anybody.
Ultimately, they are a vicious group that kill civilians, and people like yourself, the critics say, don't condemn them enough.
This is absolute nonsense. It's just not true. All you have to do is look at my statements for the past 10 years. Every bomb attack any human being would condemn, where innocents are being killed.
Do you consider the Taliban to be a terrorist group?
Yes, yes, they are.
The UN Human Rights Committee found that Australia, on your watch, had breached the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights by detaining refugees arbitrarily and indefinitely.
Well,
pretty strong stuff.
And I would dispute a number of those things.
So Amnesty's wrong, the UN Human Rights Committee's wrong.
We're talking about past history.
Would you accept a position in a Donald Trump administration? Defense Secretary, Homeland Security?
Not after this conversation.